Hello, everyone. Hope you are all doing great. So today we have our honorable guest, Ema Melanofi. She's a Reiki practitioner and a Reiki master, and she also practiced tarot reading. And today we will hear about the tarot from Ema. So, Ema, could you please say something about you?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Tanvir. So, yes, I am a holistic practitioner and teacher, as Tanvir has mentioned. I'm also really geeky about all things energy work and kind of wisdom and knowledge and esoteric stuff. So, over lockdown, I decided to start getting into a little bit of tarot reading. In fact, it may even have been before lockdown, thinking about it. Yeah. So I was a bit nervous at first because it's not something I'd ever tried, and it felt like a really big thing. It felt like people study it for years and lifetimes, and it just felt like too much. But I decided to press on anyway because I was just too excited by it and enthusiastic, and I just wanted to give it a go. So I've been learning on the job, as it were. But then after I'd given some people readings myself at first and built my confidence, reading a few books, and then giving other people readings as well, I took a diploma course online on Centre of Excellence, and I
Great.
was able to. It's so good. And I was able to broaden and deepen my knowledge and understanding of the
Mhm.
history. And it's got such a rich and interesting history, the tarot. And to basically kind of build confidence in things that I'd already been doing, find out other ideas and other approaches that can be used, and a few helpful skills, because when you're giving tarot readings to other people, there are a few bits and pieces that you just need to be aware of. Also, I've found that the working with the universal archetypes that you have in tarot, which is what you're really working with here, has really helped me working with universal archetypes elsewhere. So in my shiatsu, in Zen shiatsu, we also work with universal archetypes. And it's also there in the menstrual wheel if you're interested in that sort of thing. So it's been really interesting seeing the parallels and being able to draw on these different archetypes and all of these different areas. So it's definitely a good thing, and a language that you'll want to learn about maybe, and at least have a basic understanding of if you're interested in spirituality.
That's absolutely fantastic. So, if you can start something about what is tarot, so why
Yeah.
we need to know about the tarot before we go deep down into that domain.
So I think it's just useful to know a few of the historical facts about tarot, because
Right.
divination uses the world around us, um, looking at the world around us to be able to see where the flow is going, to get intuition and inspiration and guidance, to know where things are going and how we can best act and proceed to get the best results, really, to get insight and wisdom, because the same cycles repeat over and over again. There's a flow of the universe, and
Right.
same external influences affect all of us differently. So tarot did not begin as a divination tool. Tarot was not created as a divination tool. You might be interested to know.
Yeah, yeah.
Also, yeah, it
So
didn't
I
come
was
from.
thinking that
Mhm.
tarot is kind of a divination tool like other tools as well. So it's
Yeah.
quite a new thing to me. Yeah, please carry on.
Yeah. Well, it can be used as that, just as other things can be, like looking at trees and looking at how rivers flow, all kinds of different ways that people can um, predict, can see how things are going and predict things. But what tarot does is it gives us more in depth, it gives us more scope to go more in depth and to get more detailed, full pictures. And depending on our own approach and I guess, our level of progression and our own wisdom and insight and how far that's progressed, that's going to determine how much we're able to reap the benefits from what we receive from the tarot deck.
Mhm.
So Originally, tarot was developed in Italy, in northern Italy,
Okay.
and it was developed as a game. Yes, a
Like
bit
a Ouija
like
board.
play. Yeah, but look, no, actually, no, not like a Ouija board. It
Okay.
wasn't about, yeah, it wasn't about connecting with the other side. It was like
Hmm.
top trumps, you know. It was like, I've got this character and they rank higher than your character, so I win your card.
Ah,
It
okay.
was a game that people played with each other.
Hmm.
So it wasn't until much later that people started to use it for divination, just like they used other things for divination. Um, like I've mentioned, there are all kinds of different ways that you can divine things, but the tarot cards were a little bit different from other decks, you know, your standard playing cards, which did
Hmm.
come from China a little bit before tarot came to be. And the tarot deck has two different parts. It has the major arcana, which are kind of universal themes. They are to do, when we're reading tarot, the major arcana are to do with the internal life. So you would, and it illustrates the fool's journey, and the fool represents you, and it represents your progression through the world, the outer world, and success, and
Hmm.
building up skills and how you interact with it, and then building your inner wisdom, and then attaining that ultimate wisdom, and being able to understand everything and how everything fits in with everything else, and having that, being back at the beginning, but having that overall perspective that is much broader. So you have these themes that would show themselves through the major arcana cards, things like the sun, the fool, death, and that's a very much misunderstood card.
Hmm.
The wheel of fortune, things like that. Now, these cards are all nowadays pretty much standardized, but when tarot first came out, they were not standardized. You would have variations, you would have different sets of tarot created by different people, and they would have
Right.
different cards. Yeah.
Yeah, I have a question about that, but carry on. I will ask
Mm,
you later on about the
okay.
different type of cards. Yep.
Yeah, lovely. So, yeah, you would have different types of cards, and you would have that major arcana,
Hmm.
and then you would have the minor arcana, which are like the pip cards. They're a little bit more like the standard playing card deck. So we have cups, we have wands, we have swords, and we have coins or pentacles. And each of these different suits represents different qualities. And you have a king, a queen. You have, depending on the deck you have, you might have
Hmm.
a prince and a princess,
Hmm.
or you might have a messenger
Hmm.
and a prince. And basically, what you've got there is the masculine and the feminine kind of influences and traits, both
Okay.
in youth and in maturity. So you can see they kind of embody different qualities, different shadow sides, and this is why they're so helpful for divination. But at the time, again, it was just like playing cards, and it was about
Hmm.
yeah, it had, I think it had different ways that it could be played, but there were so many regional variations. And then it took off in Italy, and then it moved over to France. And from
Hmm.
France, it moved to Switzerland and Germany.
Right.
And it wasn't until much late, well, a little bit later, things became a little bit more standardized.
Hmm.
Um, but it wasn't until the Golden Dawn in the UK, which were kind of an esoteric group who were really interested in hidden knowledge and symbolism and learning
Right.
and that sort of thing,
Hmm.
that they were the first to really bring all the symbols and to create a truly standardized deck, the deck that tends to be the
Hmm.
accepted and used deck today, that has all the numbering, that has symbols that come from different traditions around the world. So it combines all of these things so that we can reap the most benefit from the tarot. So yeah, that's kind of a bit of a potted history there, but I just
Yeah.
love the fact that it was just playing cards, it was just top trumps, and people started using it for divination.
Yeah, thanks for explaining about the
Mm.
different type of parts in the tarot deck. So I thought that it has some link with the Egyptians, the mythology or something like that.
Mm.
So is there any kind of connection with the Egyptian teaching?
Right, this is a very good question. So actually, the only connection to Egypt that I'm aware of is the fact that a different Golden Dawn member called
Hmm.
Aleister Crowley, who was very famous and infamous, created his own tarot deck called the Tarot Deck of Thoth, the Thoth
Okay.
deck, and that uses Egyptian
Hmm.
symbols, and that incorporates all of that. He was very much into ancient Egypt, amongst many other things, and
Right.
very powerful person. But yes, he created that. And I think there were stories going around that the Roma people would use tarot, and that they brought it over from Egypt, but that's not actually true. The Roma people, I believe, were more into palmistry. They used
Hmm.
palmistry for divination, and they
Right.
used the standard playing card deck that came over from China originally. So it was ordinary playing cards that they would use, not the tarot deck.
Right. So, yeah, thanks for explaining that. So,
Mm.
I have some controversial questions. So, like in
Mm.
the major religions, so we have
Hmm.
found that people are not that much aware of the divinations or accepting that thing. So,
Mm.
in the aspect of religion, I mean, the major religion, so what is the
Mm.
standpoint of tarot?
Well, interestingly enough, there isn't really anything about using tarot decks for divination. They've never come out. The church with a capital C, so that I guess the Catholic Church would be the main
Hmm.
one
Hmm.
there, has never come out against and spoken out against tarot as a divination tool. What it has done, apparently, there was one missive or communication that went out condemning tarot, but condemning tarot alongside dice. So it was looking at it as a game of chance. It was in that same context of you
Hmm.
mustn't play games of chance. So gambling, effectively.
Okay.
So yes, it's not actually come out against tarot. A lot of people have kind of there are other sects and smaller organizations, and it's kind of one of those things, isn't it, with mainstream society nowadays?
Hmm.
Ideas get spread, and there have been some people who have been quite fearful or quite
Hmm.
mistrustful of divination just in general,
Hmm.
who have spoken out against tarot,
Hmm.
or who have equated it using parts of the Bible that speak out against witches and things like
Hmm.
that, which, you know,
Hmm.
um, is not really. I mean, there are parts of the Bible that condemn things like getting a tattoo, for goodness sake, and they kind of pick and choose to be able to, some people to be able
Right.
to speak out against it, but really there's no it's another form of divination, and if you don't like divination, then fine,
Go for
don't
it.
use
Yeah.
divination. But the fact is that tarot's not just used for divination or for playing a game of chance,
Mhm.
which is very naughty. It's also can be used as a form of self um, self examination and kind of
Mhm.
self development and self exploration. So kind of it was, I believe it was Carl Jung, who was very much into tarot and included that in his kind of methods of psychoanalysis and making use of
Mhm.
those archetypes and also dreams and things like that. So there are plenty of people who are just very interested in
Right.
psychoanalysis and exploring the psyche and the self, and they
Mhm.
use tarot for that as a form of something to meditate on, to look at their lives until that point through the lens, the framework of the tarot, so they're more easily able to engage with it. It doesn't feel as icky or as personal
Mhm,
or as triggering if they look at
mhm,
it through a story, really,
mhm.
and then see where they are and then decide what to do going forward. So yeah.
Right. So I just want to add one thing here. So I have studied the Islamic philosophy and Hindu philosophy. So where I
Mm.
also have found that in Hindu philosophy, you can proceed on with the divination tools, and it is like quite, they're adaptable and acceptable. But
Mm.
other religion like Christianity, Judaism, Muslims, uh, there are some special sects who are representing, I mean, the priest type of peoples who are representing that they're the protector of their religion. But I don't believe
Yeah.
religion needs to be protected, because God himself can protect everything. So
Mm.
they're always against kind of divination. But
Yes, because I feel like, and this might be a
yeah,
controversial thing to say, but I
right,
feel like part of the reason behind that is that they don't want people to be
get,
empowered or
yeah,
to seek wisdom from anybody except them. They want them to
yeah,
go
right,
direct to them. They want to tell them what they should be doing and what they should be thinking and
absolutely.
their truth. So they're
Yeah,
basically handing over responsibility for their souls to these people rather
yeah,
than being
right,
empowered and being holistic individuals and exploring things for themselves. And
absolutely.
yeah,
So the
sorry,
thing is,
continue.
when you were seeking kind of a divine message from the universe
Mm,
tries to say to you through some symbols or some other tools, or some type of
mm,
things.
yeah.
You cannot hear what universe is saying like some other clear audience people can hear it. But
Mm,
most of the time it's like universe need to show it through some way. So these
yeah.
are the tools to interpret our messages, what divine is telling us. But in the
Yes.
major religions, they are just giving a kind of shadow on it. So you don't need to explore any kind of divination message from God himself. So we are the
Yeah.
protector, ask us, and we'll give you the solution.
Yes. And as you've probably guessed, if you've watched any of these episodes with Tanvir and I of this
Yeah,
podcast, you will have guessed that we are very much not not going to be told what to think.
yeah,
And we
right.
encourage you to explore for yourselves. And
That's the thing.
if if you're afraid to do that, or if that contradicts you and what you feel or anything like that, then you really need to have a think about maybe not watching this series.
Mhm.
If it's going against what you believe, then this probably isn't for you right now.
Right.
Or if you are feeling drawn to it, but you're really concerned and you're a bit worried about what the consequences might be,
Mhm.
um, I would, I think that you've maybe got some meditating to do and some
Right.
um, decide. It sounds like maybe if that's the case, maybe you're at a bit of a crossroads and you can listen to what we're saying, you can see what happens, hear how we talk about it. And we're not trying to convince anybody to do
No.
this or to try this. It's if you're
No.
interested, then
Right.
please give it a go. You're not going to harm your soul. It's
No.
not going, you're not going to connect with evil entities or
No.
darkness.
No.
That's not what happens.
Right.
Um, you're not going to be told terrible things and you're not going to incur the wrath of God, because that's, I don't believe so anyway.
No. Yeah.
Um, but yes, if you feel drawn to it and it's for you, then and you're feeling ready to make that decision, then you make that decision for yourself.
Right.
That's always the case.
Right. So I just want to add one thing here as well. So as far as I know, Emma, you were also brought up in a strict religion
Yes,
uh, regime, and
I
uh,
was.
I I am also a very strict, Muslim. So it's like
Hmm.
doing everything as our sheikhs asked to do it this or that way. But when I
Mm,
started to study, then figure it out that what Quran says, because that is our
mm,
main book. So I
Mm.
figured out that it is very simple to understand. And
Hmm.
the thing is, as long as you study, and the shadows is getting away from you,
Yes.
because most of the time we are very much ignorant, and we are not reading our own religious script what it is saying. And it's
Mm.
like we just give our power to the other people who are saying
Mm.
that we are the protector of the our religion. But
Yes.
we are not clearing ourselves through reading or studying those scripts what God wants to say actually.
Mm.
So when I started to study those scripts, I figured out that religion is not like as people asked us to practice those type of ritualistic type of things to do this or that. I'm not against that, but the thing is, it is not the religion is like uh, how to make your life easier, and
Hmm.
how honestly you can uh, come to this earth and pass away, and in you can do good things for yourself, your family, and others. The
Yeah.
main context in every religion you will find the same things, because I studied the Muslim religion, and now I am studying the Hindu religions as well, so I'm going through the scripture. So
Mm.
these are very simple. But when you are not studying, you are giving your power away to some other people, and
Mm.
uh, accepting their belief as your own belief.
Yeah.
That's not only making us going through the shadow, but it's also dangerous, I think. So I mean,
Absolutely.
God
Giving them too
told
much
us,
power.
yeah, God told us, study yourself, all those things what
Yeah.
he has sent to us. So why don't we study our own scripture and figure it out that
Yes.
what's the true things, why we are believing what other people are saying, why we
Mm.
need to believe that what other people are believing. As long
Mm.
as we can study, as long we can go through that what actually the message, the divine message, I mean, I mean,
Yes.
making the shadow away.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the shadow, yes, absolutely, Tanvir. And thank you so much for sharing that. That's absolutely spot on. And I'm completely with you on that. And yeah, it's fear, isn't it? It's fear
Right.
that keeps people from, and that keeps them from exploring and trusting themselves. You've got light inside you. Whatever
Mm.
people tell you, you are light. That's your nature. It's light and truth.
Right.
So don't be afraid of your own light. Trust yourself. Trust your inner guidance.
Right.
And that's what quite a few of these religious organizations want to take you away from. So I would say it's fine to be in a religion. Obviously, it's fine to be
No,
in a religion.
obviously.
It's
Yeah.
everybody's
Yeah.
decision. But
Yeah.
yeah, trust your own light. Okay.
Right. Okay, thank you, Emma, for explaining your view. And I also shared my view on religion as well. The tarot,
Mm.
the divination, definitely it will help our audience to think about whether it is
Mm.
right or not. So
Yes.
if whatever is their decisions, but the
Mhm.
thing is, as long as we study, as long as we try to explore what God really wants to say us, we will definitely get the right message. And
Yes, absolutely.
right. And tarot might be a good tool to get those divination message to us.
Yes.
And in the
Yes.
second episode, we will know about the tarot deck itself and how
Hmm.
to use tarot, and also something about the spirituality as well.
Yes.
So stay
We
tuned
look
with
forward.
us. See you soon.
Yes.
Bye.
See you soon. Bye-bye. Bye.